welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida, home to America's premier muscle car showroom, Hankster's Hot Rods, where we own and house anywhere from 65 to 80 vehicles at any given time. If you are watching the vehicle we are about to present to you today on any other advertisement other than Hankster's website, which is hanksters.com, please be sure to visit our website so you can determine whether this is in fact a current vehicle that we have for sale. If you are watching this on YouTube, on classiccars.com, on Hemmings, this vehicle may no longer be available for sale. We own all of our cars, so you're dealing directly with the seller. There are no third parties involved. We are not a consignment dealership. We welcome all of you to visit Hankster's Hot Rods to look at the vehicle you might be purchasing. We encourage all of our buyers to come in person. Daytona Beach is a great tourist destination. There's a lot to do here. It's a fun 2-3 day trip, maybe even a week-long trip. Come check out our cars for yourself. Check out underneath. We'll take it on a test drive. Have some fun. Hanksters.com, and if you want to reach us by phone, it's 386-944-9219. Enjoy today's presentation.
This is the engine bay of a 1965 Ford Mustang. It does have a 5.0 in it at this point. It's a newer Mustang motor, I'm going to guess. We don't really know for sure. But it does have a Hawley vacuum secondary carburetor on it. It does have an aluminum intake manifold on it, and it appears to be a newer design engine. It has serpentine drive belt system on the front, the newer alternator that the newer Mustangs had on it. It has power steering, power disc brakes in the front, dual stage master cylinder, and a biggie down here in Florida, air conditioning. This guy does have a functional air conditioning system on it. Has a 14-inch unsilenced Ford Motorsport air cleaner on it and the associated Ford Motorsport Mustang valve pan covers, black with orange lettering on them. Really gives it a nice look. A nice thermostatically controlled electric fan with a nice shroud on it also for this aluminum, I'm going to call it a 4-pass aluminum radiator. Newer battery, newer starter solenoid. And again, it does have an MSD ignition system on it, and the distributor, and the MSD blaster coil, and the MSD high silicone large diameter plug wires on it. The exhaust system is hidden down under there. It's hiding from me. It does have a set of original cast iron exhaust manifolds on it that go into, I'm sure a dual exhaust system goes out the back. We'll take a look at that shortly here once we get underneath the car. It has newer shocks that you can see from on top here. The underhood itself is just as fresh and clean as you could ever hope to find one. There's no distress whatsoever on the front of the engine here. The core support, you can see it's never been disrupted in any way, so the car's never suffered any trauma. Nobody punched it in the nose through the years here. The car started out as because everybody's going to ask, it did start out as a C-code engine, which is a 289 2-barrel motor, but at this point it's a 302 4-barrel engine with air conditioning, steering, and brakes. So you have all the amenities that you have on a newer vehicle in the old look of the 65, 66 Mustang. Great looking engine compartment. There's no indication of any leakage whatsoever from the valve pan covers, the intake manifold, the timing chain in front of the engine, water pump, absolutely nada. This is about as nice an engine compartment as you could ever hope to find on a first generation Mustang. So we'll go around the rest of it and see what we can show you there. Hi, today we're going to present to you a first generation Mustang. A car that everybody is looking for, especially in this model. It's a fastback. And these guys actually are more desirable than a convertible or a coupe. Very hard car to find in this condition in a fastback. It's a burgundy color. It appears to be the original burgundy that came on the car. I don't know if it is, but it certainly looks to be that color. The gap from the fender to the hood to the cowl area, you can see is absolutely spot on both sides. Devin's going to give you some high resolution photos so that you can see that. Ford designation with no patina whatsoever across the front. This bar in the front of the grille, it's a very finite piece of trim, and usually has some little indentures on it. This one has absolutely none. This guy presents itself to be a GT. It has the GT style fog lamps in the GT style grille in the front here. The bumper itself has no marks or scuffs or any scratches whatsoever on it, and the fitment is absolutely spot on. The valance underneath the bumper, kind of hard to get down under here, but Devin will get you a whole bunch of photos so that you can see them. The parking lights are amber, nice clear lenses on them. There's no pulls or marks or anything on the front of this car anywhere, absolutely none. The paint on the car also is above a driver quality paint job. This is certainly much above what was put on by Ford in the early and middle 60s, and just a great color combination and a great paint job. There's no fogginess to it. There's no marks or any imperfections that you can see in the paint at all. And we're going to go around the rest and see if we can find some. 5.0 designation in the front, because that's what this guy is at this point. Look at the seams. Look at this. Look, and the door to the fender. It can't get any better than that. Correct wiper arms and blades. Dashboard, there's no distortion whatsoever on it. No warps or cracks or marks or anything whatsoever on it. I'm going to call it a conventional glass windshield. I don't think it has a tint to it, or the side windows. It's hard to tell with a black car in the inside of the building here, but I'm going to go with just conventional glass, not tinted. The trim around the front window, there's no marks or scuffs or anything, or punch marks on it whatsoever. Trim around the wing area, which is usually deteriorated substantially. This guy is not. It is just spot on. Can't be any nicer than it is. Drip rail, little tiny mark there. You're not going to see it, but I'm telling you there's one there. Again, the windows, look at the trim around the window here. Usually this is deteriorated too. This guy is not. The conventional Ford mirror, circular on this side, the way it should be. No patina on the door handle, and the front and back of this car, the door seams you can see are absolutely spot on. Can't get any better than that. Also, along the side, it's very difficult to see, but there is a black GT style stripe down the side of this vehicle, down below the door and the rocker panel. Okay, looking inside this guy. All your door actuators and window actuators, and this is a molded armrest too, the way it should be from the factory. Does have a set of pony style seats in it. Seat belts in the front, seat belts in the rear. The headliner is absolutely as taut and nice as can be. You'll see that better from when we get inside the car. Has an aftermarket wooden steering wheel in it. The gauge enclosure looks really nice on it. All the chrome around it is nice and bright and shiny, and you can see your air conditioning unit the way they were put in 65 and 6, hanging underneath the dash there. This guy's a 3-pedal car. Very important feature here. That's not even a 3-speed or a 4-speed. It's a 5-speed in this car, and it is a manual 3-pedal car. Great addition to it. The door sills absolutely brand new. You can't see any marks or distortions whatsoever or scuffs on them. Inside the front of the doors, the door closure part, fresh and clean. Devin will show you some good pictures of that. There's no overspray on the locking mechanism. You can see it on the quarter panel and on the door. Nothing's been oversprayed. All the bright work inside the car is just as fresh as can be. Great looking car so far. And see how the door closes just the way it should. Going down the side, everything lines up as it should. There's nothing that's misaligned on the doors, the fenders, the hood, anything on this car. Great addition to it. It has a set of chrome-plated, not polished aluminum, but chrome-plated torque thrust style wheels on it, and they are 15-inch with some nice fat rubber on them, front and rear. Obviously, the rear rims are a little bit wider, a little offset different than the front ones, and of course, tires being a little bit different size too. Your vents, which are functional, by the way, on a Mustang, these are just as clean and nice and fresh as the day they were new. Looking down into the car, it does have a flop-down rear seat in it. And you know what? This trim is the same as it was in the front. There's absolutely no marks, no scuffs, absolutely no imperfections in it. It's not a scratch. There's something on the window here, but I don't know what it is. Jeff will clean it off. Going into the interior, looking straight down into it, the back seat where it flops down, all that is nice and fresh and clean. Around the back of it, there's no patina whatsoever on your brake light bezels. And look, same as the hood was. It can't be any better than it is there. Mustang gas cap the way it should be. Bumper fitment is spot on, and again, no scuffs or marks or anything on the bumper itself. Let me check these. Absolutely brand new. There's no patina whatsoever. And those things, especially on the bottom, you know, you can find that chrome is it's chrome-plated pot metal, and it's usually deteriorated. These are not. The correct style trumpets out the back for a GT, and also the circular enclosure part for where the trumpet comes out is just as fresh and clean as can be. Spare tire and a jack. Everything in this thing looks as fresh and clean as you'd want to have. Somebody's gone to the trouble to put the insulator type material on top of the trunk area to isolate it some from the heat, insulated from the heat. But we'll get a better look at that once we get underneath the car. But you can see the enclosure itself and all the rubbers I should have mentioned in the door were nice and fresh, and they are here. Your rubber seal around the trunk area is just as fresh and clean as you could find. And it closes like it should. Passenger side. Everything again lines up the way it should. You can see there's no marks on this trim around the rear light. And looking in at an angle, you can see all your vent areas are just as nice and clean as can be. And there's also no overspray on any of it. Everything is precise fitment. Window, same as it was on the other side. Wipes, whiskers, I forgot to mention that on the other side. Door handles, spot on, can't be any nicer. No marks at all on this drip rail molding. And we got a right-hand mirror on this guy too, which is a nice addition to have. Look at the gap. It does not get any better than that. And the front one's the same way. You have a nice, precise fitment. Door panel on this side, same as the other side. And you can see on this angle a little bit better view of the dashboard. You can see the lumber on the gauge panel and the glove compartment just as fresh and clean as you'd ever hope to find on any of these cars. Nice set of floor mats on the front and back of this guy. The seating area is nice and taut. There's no sag to the padding in the seats at all, absolutely none. And again, take a look at that sill, that scuff plate, just as fresh as you could ever hope to find one. Needs a little drip of oil on the hinge. Closes just like the other one does. Geez, oh man, this car's very nice. Same thing on the front window here. Nope, that's just a little bit of dirt. No marks at all on any of this trim. Front window, back window, side windows fit just as precise as they should. Correct style antenna for early generation Mustangs. And again, look at this fitment. Everywhere you look on this car, it is precisely fit. It is absolutely as precise as you could find one. Laser straight down the sides and 5.0 on the nose of it here, and we're back where we started again. So, first generation Mustang. These guys are tough to find. Everybody wants one in a coupe. There's one here. It's a burgundy color with a black pony style interior in it, all fresh appointments inside of this car. Any piece of aluminum or trim or anything that would have any deterioration has either been freshened up or replaced. There's no scuffs on the chrome, front bumper, back bumper, grill area, absolutely none. Everything is precise fitment. We just went over this car, showed you it in its entirety, and we couldn't find anything that we needed to adjust, which is very unusual. Usually we have something to do, a door or a hood or a deck lid or something. In this case, there are none. Very nice car, and it's available here at Hanksters. And if you can, please come down and take a look at it. We love to show you these vehicles in person, but if you can't, that's why Devin's going to compile all this data that we're generating so that you can look at it on the Hanksters website, and it'll help you in your decision on buying a car from Hanksters, which will be a good decision because this is a heck of a nice car. Okay, this is the underside of our first generation Mustang. This guy's a burgundy color, wine colored fastback. Phenomenal car, as you can see from the undercarriage of this thing. I mean, it's just very nice condition. You can see the engine has been out and freshened up. There's absolutely no leaks at this point in time on the rear main, the oil pan itself, the front seal, bell housing area, transmission, tail shaft. Absolutely none of it. This thing is as dry as can possibly be at this time. But it's a muscle car, so if it puts some oil on the floor 6 months from now, 2 months from now, a year from now, don't be surprised, because that's just the nature of the beast. The front end has a set of newer, very nice condition Nice fat rotors, calipers on it, a new associated hardware, disc brakes in the front. The sway bar itself, let me see here. It has newer rubber bushings put in the front of the sway bar. The sway bar links are nice and fresh looking also. Ball joints appear to be the original ones but do not need replaced. Tie rod ends, I think, have been replaced by the condition of them. They look that way. The steering box is a newer steering box. You can see it's been replaced with the pitman arm and the idler arm also being replaced. The subframes on this thing is just absolutely phenomenal. There's absolutely no deterioration whatsoever. There's not even any couple little tiny scratch jack marks. That's all you can say on the subframes on this thing. Other than that, they're just absolutely flawless. Floor pans themselves, where they transition out of the fender wells and down onto the floor pans, just as fresh and clean and nice as you could hope to find one. You can see the crimp wells are still evident on the rocker panels where the floor pans transition to. It has a set of cast iron exhaust manifolds, and I'm going to call these 2-inch primary tube pipes. Guess what? This guy's loose. It needs to be tightened up, but so is that one. Both of these are new. You can see they've just been installed, and the donuts have to be tightened up. I'm just pointing it out because we just saw it right now. But they are, to my, I'm gonna call them stainless steel. They look like stainless steel exhaust on it, going back to the Flowmaster style mufflers. We'll get to that in a second. The parking brake is still hooked up and functional. Also no leak from the transmission gear cable that goes to the speedometer. That's as nice and fresh as could be too. The brake lines have been replaced with newer lines. The let's see where we at here. The pans themselves are very nice condition. Even the transitional piece up over the hump, that's all just as nice and clean and fresh as you can get. No marks on these pans at all. No one's made any effort to jack them up on the floor pans through the years, thank God. Again, Flowmaster mufflers. The drive shaft has new joints in the rear and in the front, new U-joints. The shocks in the front, we did mention, were new shocks. I think they're Monroes. They were blue, I think so. I think that makes them Monroes. These are coil-over adjustable shock in the rear, and they're also new. Drum brakes in the rear to coincide with the discs up front. It has an 8-inch Ford rear, and it is a posi rear. We just checked this, and it is a posi rear. Donnie will give you the specs on this, telling you the gear ratio also. The gas tank, if it isn't the original one, it surely looks like it. But there are no indentures on it. There's no indication of any dents or marks or scrapes or anything on it. The subframes where they transition up over the rear differential and go toward the back are just as fresh and clean as can be. I'm going to call these 2-inch pipes also. Yeah, I'm going to call them 2-inch also, going back to the trumpet style mufflers that exit out through the rear valance. The drop downs and the quarters are in very nice condition. There's no indication that they have any issues. It has a fuel pump, electric fuel pump in the rear here to help push the fuel from the tank up to the engine. Nice curvature to the rear leaf springs, which are a standard item on this vehicle. Really a nice condition car. You can see everything underneath here. The exhaust system is all stainless steel and new, with the exception of mufflers. They're mild steel. At no point does you see a leak on any of this. This is just as fresh and clean as can possibly be. There's no indentures on the floor pans anywhere. A couple little tiny jack marks on the subframes in the front, and that's all we could find. There's really nothing here that shows anything other than normal wear. This is an exceptional car underneath. It's a great looking car. It's just so far, the fitment and everything. And literally the only thing we found so far was when they put this new exhaust system on, they forgot to tighten the donuts up at the cast iron manifolds. So we're going to go for a ride and see what this guy runs like. Well, this is the inside of our 65 first generation Mustang Fastback, car that everybody's really looking for right now. Got a Mustang horn center, and the horn works just like it should. It's got an aftermarket wooden steering wheel in it with a stainless brushed tri-bar spoke in the center of it. Dual mirrors, left and right. You can see the actuators for the door and the window are both really nice and fresh. The headliner is absolutely brand new. It could not be any nicer or any more taunt than it is. It's really, really nice. There's a nice yellow jacket back there that just flew in too. Dash pad, like we showed you from in the video that we did outside, is just as fresh and nice and clean as can be. There's no cracks or dents or marks or deviations in it whatsoever. Jeff gave us about a half a tank of fuel to go play with. And we have oil pressure gauge working just as it should. We have the temperature gauge just coming up. Of course, we just fired this guy up. And the amp gauge also working as it should. Let's see, we have wipers, and they are working also as they should. Get that, Dev? Okay, we got the wipers. Radio. Let's do a radio. We got a radio that works. How about that? Usually we don't do radios and clocks, but this guy does have a functioning Mustang radio in it. Good radio. Air conditioning. Holy crap. This thing will blow you out of your seat. It definitely has cold air. There is no question. We can use it today because down here in Florida, I think it's up somewhere real close to 150 out here right now. So we got to hurry up and get this drive-in done. Might have to put a little bit of oil on that fan for your heater for the defrost. Maybe not. Maybe it just hasn't been used for a while. It seems like it's fine now. Just made a noise whenever we first started it, but it is functioning. It is working as it should. And it is a 5-speed, so we're going to go for a little ride here and see what this guy runs like. Car goes down the road straight, straight, straight. Look at this. Absolutely as straight as an arrow. It can't go any straighter than it does. Let's see, we're going to try. We're still going straight, so I'm going to try. Let me see, I am. Brakes, no hands. Still haven't put anything hands on it. I'm driving with no hands. Nice running car. We didn't do the turn signals, but you can see there, turn signals functioning as they should. That's right, and that's left. They use the same one. That's high beam over there. Speedometer working as it should. You know, we're going about 50 mile an hour, and that's in a 35 mile an hour zone. But car runs really straight and true. Very nice steering resolution to it too. Look at this. I mean, there's absolutely no play in the power steering of this guy. When you turn, it turns. Really nice running car. Turn it over here and give it a little shot. You can hear what it sounds like under a little bit of a load. But really nice straight running car. Real nice. It's a 302 Ford with a 4-barrel on it. It just pulls as straight as nice as can be. The shifter, very tight and very precise. There's no rattling to it or anything. It's a very, very taut shift mechanism. There's no shaking. Same as going down the road. Look, oh, guy's going to pull out in front of us and go 10 mile an hour. That makes sense. But look, just as straight running vehicle as you can possibly find. There's no rattles, shakes, shimmies, nothing. If you're in the market for a first-gen Mustang, this is one that you should maybe pay attention to because it's a great color combination, and the fit, finish, the overall condition of this vehicle is exemplary. I mean, we run across a lot of cars that are in this condition. We try to run across every one that's in this condition, but it's very difficult whenever you have one that you don't have to address anything to. We didn't have to adjust any of the fitment at all in this vehicle anywhere, and you can see how it runs. It's a fantastic piece of engineering. Take a look at it. It's at Hanksters in Daytona Beach.